Hello, my name is Count Wavenstein and I am going to do one last walk around of my Iona-5 Cybercity in Second Life before it sadly gets scaled down drastically due to budget constraints. Even in the virtual world, the cost of living crisis is still causing havoc. So, start at the beginning. This was the first street I actually built when I started putting it together. So, here we have a recording studio with an old analog tape machine in it. Now you have the dubious privilege of being old enough to actually have started off in these in real life, and in spite of the nostalgic indulgence of many audio engineers, I would not under any circumstances swap my modern digital multi-track recorder for one of these things. Doing things that are absolutely simple now and take a few mouse clicks involved getting clothes pulls and brass scissors and all sorts back in those days, and physically cutting things up and taping them like Blue Peter just to get a simple loop. This is the shop. Nothing very spectacular about this whatsoever, just obviously you can't have a town without a grocery store. And obviously people are going to want Wall's ice cream. Unfortunately the poor girl who's stuck behind the counter only has this shitty old cathode ray television and a small cassette tape ghetto blaster for entertainment. Now here we have a Moloko Plus vendor from a Clockwork Orange. Now that is a good cyberpunk trope, even though a Clockwork Orange was written in the 1960s, long before the term cyberpunk was coined, and the film was made in the early 70s, again still long before the term cyberpunk was coined. A lot of the stuff was there, and one of the things that you see a lot in cyberpunk is drug abuse. So here you have Moloko plus Drenchrome. Drenchrome is short for adrenochrome. And we have Synthemesk, which is short for synthetic mescaline. And Velocet. Now, Velocet, I believe, or have read, comes from an ancient Latin Roman word for flight. Now I believe this is flight in the sense of running away from something, rather than flight in the sense of engaging flaps and engines and generating lift. Velocet, velocity could be a link there. And there was another one I think in the book, but I can't remember what it was offhand. Two dodgy looking schoolgirls there skipping class. This Space Invaders machine is actually playable. It's a proper emulation of the 1978 title, Space Invaders, which was a little point of historical interest. Was the first video game to have an interactive audio track. Now it was very simple, just you had the as the minis moved, and when you shot more of them and they speeded up, the soundtrack did the same with them until it ended up being a usually shortly before you get killed if you'd let them get that far down the screen. Over here, what we got? Gotham State Penitentiary. Huh. And old broken down arcade machines, Galaxian, Pac-Man, Star Wars. Used to love that Star Wars one when I was young. My local amusement arcade had one of the cool ones where you could actually sit inside it, and you had the yoke in front of you, and it was vector graphics, really cool at the time. You had raster graphics back then at the beginning of the 80s, but they were very, very grainy due to memory and processing constrictions of the day. I mean, if you bought the top end computer at the beginning of the 80s, you'd be very lucky if it had like 16k of RAM in it, compared to what was the average now, 16 gigabytes. This place is called the Archive Centre. This is my home within a home, where I come to do my scripting experiments and what have you. So we've got some retro PCs. We've got an Altair 880 there. That was the first computer ever, I believe, to have BASIC, or the first, let's say it was the first computer that an ordinary person could afford to buy, at any rate, that had a BASIC interpreter that you could use with it. And I believe it was designed by none other than William Gates, later of Microsoft. And Commodore PET there, that was the first computer I ever had a shot of. My father, in the arse end of the 70s, with people at his work, they had a syndicate of some kind, and they'd jumped in for this thing, and they had like a week about of keeping it at their houses. So I was very fortunate to get a kind of understanding of computers at a very young age and get familiar with them. I remember being absolutely fascinated by this thing. It didn't even have like games you could buy that I remember any of. What happened was you would get a list that someone had made for a wee simple game, and you typed it in yourself. These discs on the wall, you click them and they send a little story to your nearby chat. It's limited in the number of words you can use, so it's broken up into small anecdotes, but when you go through all these discs from the beginning to the end, you basically have the backstory of our sim and its history in Second Life, which spans some 4 years and has been quite a lot of fun. And here's another cyberpunk trope, body modification. This chap actually looks a little bit forgone, but who knows what kind of nanotechnology we might have here. But yeah, cyberpunk, you get a lot of body modding where people will have, for example, communications devices built into them, and maybe devices that increase their speed or strength or ability to learn things. So always good to have that included in here. And in here we have cannabis plants, and they look like they're producing quite the good crop there.
Security scan complete. Thank you for your cooperation.
A shower room here, so that when people have had their avatars doing naughty things, they can clean themselves up again. The street names. The street names are all named after famous authors who have written about virtual worlds or metaverses or whatever you want to call them. So the Wachowskis famously wrote The Matrix, which I would defy anyone at the moment to claim they'd never heard of. And Stevenson Street, Neil Stevenson wrote Snow Crash, in which publication he actually termed coined the word metaverse. So the metaverse, as Stevenson envisaged it, was basically all of machine space. So you could possibly call the internet a metaverse. It needs to be connected and interoperable, and it needs to encompass multiple machine entities where they can all kind of operate in one space. Not a great explanation of it, a bit clunky, but picks up in the essence of it. If the universe is all that is in physical space, the metaverse would be all that is in machine space. Only in machine space, as we all know, we have parts of it that are not connected to each other. So the metaverse should really encompass all, but it probably never can, because you'll always have people who want to, take the machines off and do something else. The Second Life is interoperable across the entire space, and it does have multiple sims connected by teleport. So essentially there's nowhere in it you can't in theory go, although some people do put up security to stop you coming in. Something I actually have a bit of an issue with, but That's just my opinion. In my opinion, no, there's limits to it. I'm not suggesting that I should be able to go into Second Life and walk into someone else's house, but I don't think if you have a block of land that connects other blocks of land, I don't think you should be allowed to stop people from crossing them. I actually find it quite outrageous. I believe in the mainland and Second Life it is actually against the rules, but the rules are just not enforced. Anyway, roll this and get onwards and upwards. So, across the street, just a comment on the architecture. William Gibson, who wrote Neuromancer, kind of made this trendy, and Blade Runner as well kind of alluded to it, that there would be massive Eastern influences in the future. But yeah, so Gibson basically set his novels in a place called the Sprawl, which was essentially a huge city in like the style of South Korea or maybe Japan, and I've brought these stylings in here, very Eastern looking, East Asian looking architecture, and these narrow streets, you'll see a lot of them in South Korean cities, and that seems to have become a kind of cyberpunk trope as well, the whole kind of Neo-Tokyo thing. We'll get radiation because as you'll see later, my idea when I was designing this place as a bit of fun was that it's built on the remains of a nuclear reactor that the people after the apocalypse, whatever it may have been caused by, used to, you know, for the resources. Because nuclear reactors do have a lot of stuff that's useful in them. They have electronics, they have metals of various kinds, concrete, a lot of stuff you would need to build your post-apocalyptic city. And I really love these, I think they're from DRD, are they? Death Row Designs. Yep. Old, dirty, smelly server units. And that was the feel I was trying to get, that everything's used, you know, nothing's brand new, it's all been cannibalised. This actually, although you can't see it, because the camera angle looks not unlike the desk I'm sitting at now, with screens all around me and you know, ashtrays, half-eaten food, coffee cups, fag packets, fag in the British way meaning cigarettes, not a derogatory term for anyone. Oh, and there, an Amiga 500 running Pro Tracker. That was really cool back in the day. So Pro Tracker on the Amiga for the first time ever without a studio full of bespoke equipment, what you sample things, what you do slicing, you could do pitch shifting, you could do all kinds of cool shit with it that you would at the time not have been able to do outside a studio, or at least with a lot of very expensive equipment. Now, it had limitations obviously. It was 8-bit, 8 channels, and the early ones would actually only let you use 4 channels, so it was 8 channel mono, the Amiga, and 4 channel stereo if I remember rightly. So Pro Tracker gave you your 4 channels of stereo, although as I recall the stereo in it was very limited. But however, it did let you make cool tracks. You can still get mod trackers on YouTube for a bit of nostalgia, or if you're a young person who's interested in the kind of history of digital audio engineering, it's worth a wee look into it. Wasn't quite as user friendly as a modern DAW. You had to learn hex, how to read hex for you know, setting volumes and parameters and stuff, but it wasn't undoable. Anyone who was interested in it would work their way around that. Well, I've got a server room here with a very old computer with reel-to-reel tape storage. That's another thing. At one of my old workplaces about 10 years ago, we had to remove basically a warehouse full of these tape reels and destroy them after they'd all been moved to more modern forms of storage. This was a horrendous business that involved days of forklifting, and the whole lot of the bloody things, of which there were thousands, would have fit on a decent sized USB pen nowadays. And we have a nice smart official looking East Asian woman here who's keeping an eye on the place, doing the data entry, all that kind of stuff, city admin. And now these here, they work by, I'll just demonstrate. If I hit Ctrl-Alt-T, you can now see all the transparent stuff. So it's set to phantom, which means you can walk through it, as you can see there. And in here we have the step rubbish sound, which if I play it, sounds like someone stepping rubbish, which exactly is what it was. I just walked through a pile of rubbish that I had in my garage with a handheld recorder, and the script here, get status phantom, collision start, and on the collision it plays the first sound in the pram at volume 1.0, which is maximum. This is normalised, which means it goes from 0 to 1, and that plays it at maximum volume. There are other methods of triggering audio which we'll come to in due course. I'll just move that pointer out of the way. Now what's in here? Oh yeah, here's another classic nod to the 70s. This is from the film Soylent Green. Soylent Green was the food in this dystopian future where they actually, instead of letting dead bodies go to waste, they would cook them up and feed them to the population. And nice stoners down here. Again, get the touch sound somewhere. Which trigger the bong. The big truck here, we put that in because one of our friends who stays on this finds the horn that blows on it every few minutes really annoying, and myself and the other Roner thought we would just put it in there by way of a little prank. And it's locked so that she can't remove it herself. That's just an empty building that we'll never get round to doing anything with. This here, Fear, is a prison. That Fear's a Prison is actually a musical project of mine where it lets me rant about the things that annoy me about politics without getting shouted at or hate mail or getting my face punched or whatever. And yeah, information must be free or society will end up in chains. I think, anyone who hasn't noticed what's being done with information by now must have been sleeping for the last few years. And got this very smartly dressed woman here. I think actually she's quite a well-known celebrity. Rachel McAdam, is that her name? Anyway, I had this vision of a kind of future of quite strict conformity among the classes who are allowed in, and the haves, so to speak. Also, I rather like smart clothes, like to dress up like that myself. Here again with the touch triggering audio, we've got a cash machine. Now this was another big cyberpunk trope. You see it in Blade Runner when Deckard makes a phone call from Taffy Lewis's. You see it in 2001. There seemed to be an idea that there would be video phones in the future, but they didn't catch on to the fact you might be carrying these around in your pocket. So they had these big cathode ray tube video screens that you would put some money into and it would give you a certain amount of calling time. Obviously things turned out rather different from that, and now we all carry around our own communications networks in our pockets. So someone young who was watching Blade Runner or whatever now might find that all a bit silly. They might even think, I know what this is about, what happened to all the mobile phones. This was, we had a midsummer party here earlier in the year, and put this floor up. It was surrounded here with DJ equipment and stuff at the time, and it was a fun night. Just because it's a virtual world, it doesn't stop everyone getting full of booze and having some pointless fun. Rock the system. Yeah, I think my anti-establishment credentials have probably been pretty well cemented. Again with the TV screens, again never seems to have occurred to people that would be carrying all these in our pockets rather than standing in the street watching them. Oh, and that's a ghost. One of our early Sims we were convinced was haunted because things went bump in the night in it. Obviously it's far more likely it was caused by some kind of glitch, but it's always fun to have a ghost story attached to a place. These are for flying machines, ground power units, refueling. Forklift here, this can actually be operated. I'm not going to do it because I'm a shit driver of video game cars and stuff, and I would just end up knocking something over. Here we've got an old Commodore 64 lying on the table, an old 5¼ disc drive, not VHS tapes. Funny thing to make things futuristic now, there seems to be a lot of making them all very 1980s looking with the cyan neon and what have you. So this area here, this is from the Kowloon City. Now anyone who's seen Kowloon in real life will possibly understand why this is so densely packed. Seemingly it is the most densely packed city ever built. There were don't think even any roads or anything in it. It was only possible to access by climbing through narrow passageways like this. There's a pretty cool architect on YouTube called Dami Lee. She's Korean, I think, Korean American, absurdly pretty, and she gives cool YouTube lectures on various kind of interesting architecture things. So if anyone wants a look at the real cow city, go to YouTube and do a search for her. Red light district, literally speaking. Don't know why I put the Rubik's Cube there, I just thought it was pretty cool. It serves no purpose other than being an ornament. I think that texture caches need to be cleared or something. Some of this is taking quite a bit to bake. Quite like this waitress here, just always found her quite easy on the eye. I think she speaks if you...
For the last time, stop asking about the smell. We don't know what it is either.
That was an excerpt from a drone announcer audio that a friend and I made for Sparkle Bottom Laser Tits, which she put in to the drone station in one of the drones, so that when you get off the train you would hear these random announcements being made. And this, just for fun again, is the old dial-up modem sound, which anyone of about 25 or over will remember well. I've got some people here who are off their nuts and something or other. Burning cars. Kind of idea behind that was that the have-nots of this world would be burning rubbish of all kinds to keep warm. That sign, I was actually down at my friend's place in South Wales, and that was on the wall outside a Waitrose, so I took a snap of it and altered it a little bit. This skate park is pretty cool. You can buy a skateboard from VAS, I believe, VAAS, and it takes a bit of playing around and learning, but once you get used to it you can do tricks of various kinds on these ramps, just as you see skaters doing in real life. I used to love skateboards as a kid until I broke my arms a couple of times. Then I decided to give it up in my late teens because it was a game of Russian roulette I'd played too many times, and I was worried I might fall on my head next time. Now this is a very faithful replica of the reactor room in control room 4 at Chernobyl, and if I actually go over here somewhere, there it is, up here you have the famous AZ5 switch, which was partly responsible for causing the explosion that happened in 1986. The control rods were tipped with carbon, so for the first few seconds of being inserted, they actually increased the reactivity, which pushed it over the cliff and made it thermally explode. It wasn't a nuclear explosion, it was thermal, because of the heat. Reactors are set up in such a way that you'll never get critical mass for a nuclear explosion. That said, it did horrendous damage, and it's still one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Think you're damaged beyond all hope of survival within about 90 seconds of standing next to the core to this day. Now, even though I'm blaming the button, incidentally, what was done with the reactor was reckless, almost beyond fucking belief. It was powered down into a xenon pit. The xenon gas builds up at low power and it poisons the reaction, so you're meant to restart the reactor slowly over 24 hours. But because they were under pressure from the Soviet government to complete this test they were doing, they tried to power out of the xenon pit by removing all the control rods apart from 7. So when the xenon was burnt off, the reaction just went through the fucking roof in a matter of seconds. And other smokers down here. Wee bit of steampunk here just for fun. So we get this mechanical computer, and the storage device seems to be this rotating drum down at the bottom here, and it's read by these metal teeth and fed into this processing device up here. That seems to be the output there, that screen. What this guy here is, I have no idea. I do know this one over here though. This is Herbert West, as played by Jeffrey Combs. He gave a bravura performance in the 80s, 90s, 80s of Herbert West from H.P. Lovecraft's classic Reanimator book. And that, again, if anyone hasn't seen it, is well worth a watch. It's a kind of horror comedy, almost in the style of Evil Dead. It's
remember,
simultaneously horrifying and hilarious.
Freedom is slavery. Conformity is freedom.
Oh, we've got a police station here. It's rather run down, but it does have a cell in case any of us are too badly behaved in the Saturday night or whatever. And a policewoman there.
Move along, fuckface.
Oh, and here we have a genetically modified dodo. We've got a few of them around. Some don't know why. One of our friends had a thing about resurrecting dodos and putting them around the place. This one's actually quite well behaved, but most of them are designed to follow you around and pester you.
War is peace.
I've actually
Freedom is
seen
slavery.
a griefer that was in
Conformity
here
is freedom.
leaving because the dodo was being such a pain in the arse, so they have their moments. Sex shop. Oh yeah, and her here, she's available in Marketplace. Wish she would stop. Untextured baking. There's definitely something going on with my textures here. Now, obviously, with all this radiation about, we need a decontamination chamber.
Activate. Stand by.
There we go. And here we have, I think, the worst public toilet I've ever managed to find in Second Life. You would have to be very desperate before you sat in this thing. And here we have a DeLorean complete with time machine. And murder scene, that's another cyberpunk trope, the rampant crime and violence. And these are our tireless representatives in the town hall. She actually looks quite big, maybe better not mess with it. Over here we have this guy, he actually looks quite responsible. Although none of them seem to be getting a lot of work done, I must say. And what we here, ah yes, Ed 209.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Remember, war is peace. Freedom
And this is
conformity is freedom.
Polly, one of our friends' games room. Just a wee place for us to hang out. We've got a noodle house here. And yes, the girl serving in here is the identical twin sister of the one serving in the burger place around the corner. Now in here there are rooms here. These work slightly differently. So you've got 8 one-room sounds. They're actually recordings of my washing machine at various stages of the spin cycle. So here we have a bit of scripting that detects the sounds, and down here we have a bit of scripting that randomly plays the sounds. So when you put all these into one trim, then you copy the trim. There's one here, one here, one here, one here. You then can generate quite a thick soundscape. Yes, a thick soundscape. Just by randomly triggering them, they will kind of pop up at different times. Sounds like there's washing machines operating all around you. This is in any audio implementation in a video game, all you need to be able to do is play a sound, stop a sound, loop a sound, play a sound at random, and play a sound conditionally, like for example on a collision with an avatar. If you can do these things, you can generate any soundscape in the world, no matter how complex, just with those simple rules. Now, before I go upstairs, there was one more thing I want to look at here. So we're now at the city limits. Put fences around it because outside there's nothing but a very long drop. This is the lid of the reactor. Now this I don't even want to think about how heavy this is, but it shows you the power of the Chernobyl explosion, that this entire lid was blown clean off. And if I pull out, then you can see you're not talking about a small object here. Right, now we should be able to get back in here. Come on, open up. This is the old Sunmora overpass. I believe it's from DRD as well. Is it? They're going to tell me? Yeah, Dead Road Designs. This dude here, the big robot, he's from D-Lab. And at the moment he's tidying up, moving this old Moskvich. Now, the reason I put a Moskvich in the sim, a Moskvich is an old communist car from Russia, 1970s this model. It was The first car in my family house that I remember. My parents had cars before that, but I wasn't born, so to me this is the first car. It was a hideous contraption. My brother and I could hear my dad coming home from work while he was still at the edge of town because of how loud the backfires were. And my grandfather actually bought it and gave it to my parents, and what possessed him to buy it I have no idea. I can only imagine it was very cheap. That said, it did get us from A to B and it lasted for a number of years. Smilex, that's from the 1989 Batman film starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson and Kim Basinger. And that is another classic that anyone who hasn't seen it yet should take a look at. Very different style of film from the new ones with like Christian Bale or Ben Affleck in them, but cool nevertheless. Right, I'm just going to be cheeky and jump over here. Fiona, my avatar, is quite the acrobat. Billiards table. Old broken paper boy, that's quite cool. I like this Space Invader couch. I wouldn't mind one like it in real life. And here. And where did this come from actually? Oh yeah, this I think is the same guy who makes the cow and stuff, yeah, JPK. And I think this might be part of the cow and range that he does. It's all very compressed, very tight, low ceilings, and that said, you've got a bed here you can cap down in if you know where to go. If you're so desperately sad that in Second Life you actually put your avatar to bed before logging out. Up here is where we have our art galleries. So this is Polly's. She's got, this is for reflecting light, for taking photos, is it? Is it? Or is it a chair? Okay, I'm talking absolute bollocks. It's not one of these things for reflecting light, it's for sitting in. We do have a couple of photo studios in the Sim that we use now and again. And these photos here are from our Halloween party we had on Saturday night. Oh, there's Fiona up there. There's Karen, he's our resident DJ, and a very good one at that. One or two folk I don't actually recognise. That one up there at the top's Fiona's ass. That's Lydia, she's my friend in Second Life and in real life. That one there I think is Evie, she is Evie and Mirror I think. Evie is the co-owner of this place. She's actually the majority shareholder, and Mira is her partner.
Remember, war is peace. Freedom is slavery. Conformity is freedom.
So yeah, great fun night. Couple more art galleries around here. One is Martin's and the other one is Guille's. Guille, I think, is French for will, like Guillaume the Conquerant. I don't know how you pronounce it correctly, but it's something like that. Another video phone.
Welcome to BIM Video Phone. Calls are charged at $10 per minute.
$10 a
Please
minute,
insert your
bargain.
card.
So this is more Kowloon City stuff. What is really cool about the Kowloon stuff is it's completely full permissions. So if you feel like it, you can go in and absolutely take this stuff apart and build new stuff completely of your own out of it. Which I've done to an extent here. I did a bit of butchery and to create this kind of square. Second Life is really easy to build in. That's its big strength. I mean, there's a huge asset store where you can buy just about anything you can possibly imagine. Built this promontory here just because I noticed there was a wee barber shop that was unreachable before, other than by walking along this very tight edge, which would certainly breach any sensible health and safety regulation. Well, it's not barbers, it's a dentist. Oh. There you go, even in your own sim, every day is a school day. That's what it is, it's a dentist. Not one I'm sure I would like to frequent. Scandal, they're a Japanese J-rock band. They play kinda cool garage rock stuff. I've always quite liked them. They've been going since about 2008 and have released many albums, which is a level of longevity and artist development you just don't see over here anymore. On the other hand, from what I understand of the Japanese laws, they treat stealing music much like they treat stealing anything else over there. If you get caught doing it, you'll get much stiffer punishments. Whereas in Britain, where I live, it's essentially just ignored. If the police arrested you for piracy, the judge would probably admonish the police for wasting his time. Now, I think we're at the highest point in the city that's accessible by foot. Right, I'm going to jump down here because there's one more thing to talk about. These, for some reason when I was at the edge of 64 meters, which is the maximum length for this platform. So I built these kind of glass floors here that you can kind of see through, just to not have people falling
War is peace.
to the ground. And it looks like our waitress is not a twin at all, she's a triplet. This police car I'm not going to demonstrate at the moment because I'd quite like to get this on YouTube without it being censored, but if you sit in that police car, preferably with someone else that has many sexual positions built into it. This is the Red Room. It is modelled quite faithfully on Club Pinot, which was a fixture in one of the drones about 4 years ago, but it existed before that, and we'd actually managed to convince the owner to give us the blueprints and build it on one of our sims, but then we all got into a bit of a battle with each other, and the guy who was building it took it away, so we and I at the time was very upset by this, angry, but I've since learned that the people on the other side of this also had a story to tell, and maybe not everyone was perfect. So anyway, I have now re-established some old friendships from back in those days that needed mending, which I think can only be a good thing. But yeah, when the Pinot Club was removed, we had this one built in its place and pretty close to being identical to it. We usually set this up in all of our sims. It's just a tradition we've got. Everywhere we go there has to be a Pinot Club, or the Red Room as we call it now. And we've got a barmaid here who incidentally will, if you click her, she will offer to sell you a drink. Or she should. Why is this not working? Oof. Alright, she's having none of it. Oh no, there she goes. So yeah, I want a Jägermeister. And now if I go into my inventory, go to recents, there we go. And there it is. It looks like I'm taking it by the neck. Who needs glasses? Yeah. Ah. And that, I don't think I've missed anything out. I think that is our city. Oh, wait, I have missed something out. Over here we have Glitter and Tom, two of our friends. Art galleries. Let's see what they've got. So yeah, they've got some nice pictures in here. Tom is really rather good at photography. Oh, there's a candid one. She has a studio in the sim that she can set up all kinds of lighting rigs and backgrounds and all that. And oh, there's one of Fiona with her biker jacket on. Yeah, quite impressive. Oh, and that's their dog, the golden lab there. And I think that is me got around everything, and I have now been talking for well over an hour, so that is probably an excellent time to call it a day.